Here's exactly how to hold your violin and bow in a way that will set you up for success. If you haven't met, hi, I'm Megan. I'm a violinist and Suzuki trained teacher. I've been playing the violin pretty much my whole life. I have my bachelor's and master's degrees in violin performance, and I've been teaching for a little over 10 years. Learning how to hold your violin and bow correctly is so important, not only so that you can sound good, but also so you can stay injury-free. While playing the violin is obviously a musical instrument, it's very artistic, it can be physical as well. So you want to make sure that you're holding the violin in an optimal way that will keep you pain and injury free and allow you to play the most beautiful music that you possibly can. But first, let's talk about posture and holding your violin in your left hand setup. So as you can see, I use a shoulder rest, a very old beat up shoulder rest, but we love her. She served us well. I think that shoulder rests are best for most players. The exceptions to that would be those who have extremely short necks. As you can see, I have a pretty long neck, so I definitely need a shoulder rest. Unless you have a super short neck, I definitely recommend at least trying a shoulder rest at first. Shoulder rests come in all different shapes and sizes, so you might have to try a couple before you find one that works for you. But basically, the purpose of a shoulder rest is to take up that extra space between your violin and your body, so that when you're holding your violin, you're not having to bring your shoulder up or clench your head down. If you have a shoulder rest but you're not sure how to put it on, I'm going to leave a video linked where I show you exactly how to do that. Your shoulder rest is actually going to sit right on your collarbone. And you can see that in my shoulder rest, it has like a little dip. That part, that dip, right where my hairband is that's holding the sponge onto it, is gonna go right on my shoulder. And this is what it looks like. So again, that dip, that curve, goes right on my shoulder, and I have a little bit of the shoulder rest peeking out here, and of course on my shoulder here. You should be able to hold your violin comfortably with no hands. You should not need to raise your shoulder. You should be able to keep your shoulders level. And yes, you will have to apply a little bit of pressure with your head, but you should not feel like you are like clenching the instrument. As you can see, my violin right now is in between a 45 and a 90-degree angle. I'm not sure what angle that would be, but I don't think there's one right angle to hold your violin at. Some people might find it a little bit more comfortable if it's farther out. This would be especially the case if you have longer arms, or if you have shorter arms, you might need to bring it a little bit more in. I actually find that when I've been playing for a long period of time, or when I'm going to play for a long period of time, I need to bring my violin in a little bit more. It just allows me to relax a little bit more and play for those longer periods of time. But in general, my scroll is about halfway between the corner and 90 degrees. My scroll is also parallel to the ground. It's not up like this, and it's not down like that. As for my left hand, I'm going to touch the violin in 3 different spots. The first is on my thumb. I'm going to touch the violin on this part of my thumb on the pad, but on the back side of the pad, like this. So not quite like that, but a little bit more on the back side. This helps me angle my fingers over the string. Thumb placement is also something that's a bit personal and something you might have to play around with. I personally, in general, keep my thumb slightly behind my first finger. Some may choose to keep it across from their first finger, and some, if they have very small hands, might choose to keep it across from their second finger. I'd also like to add that my thumb placement changes. I'm not always keeping my thumb in one spot. If I'm shifting, or even if I'm doing vibrato, the placement of my thumb changes. So you want your thumb to be very loose, very flexible, very mobile. The second place you'll touch the instrument is on the inside of your first finger. So as you can tell, I'm touching the instrument right here, right above my bone. And the third place you'll touch the instrument is with whatever finger you are placing down. When you place your fingers down, you want to place them on the inside corner of the finger, and you want to place them on the tips. You want to make sure that your knuckle is up, it's curvy, and not bent down like this. So you can probably see that little line on my finger. That's the inside corner. That's where you want to touch the instrument with your all 4 fingers, and again, you want to keep them curved. As for the bow grip, This is difficult, especially for beginners, so please don't feel any type of way if you think it's difficult or you feel like you can't figure it out at first. I find especially with adults, even with kids honestly, but especially with adults, we're so tense, and holding the bow is just like not a natural position. So we tend to be very tense when we're holding the bow, and as we'll talk about in a second, you want all your fingers to be very relaxed and very curved when you're holding the bow. So that's something that you'll likely have to face and work on loosening up your hand as you get more comfortable with the bow grip. Take your bow in your left hand and hold it out in front of you like this. Then take your right hand and go like this, like you're giving me a high five. High five. Bend your thumb and then place your thumb on the tip, on the inside corner, on the silver thing. That is the thumb placement for beginners. The reason why I like to do this for beginners is because it's a bigger area, so it's easier to grip at first. And two, it allows me and the student to more easily see when their thumb is bent versus when it's not bent. However, professional violinists hold the violin or hold the bow with their thumb inside. If you're choosing to go inside right away, you're going to put your thumb right on top of the frog, not inside the frog, but right on top of the frog and keep it bent. Your middle finger goes right across from your thumb. So your middle finger and your thumb are kind of a unit. They're kind of the center of your bow hold. And then your ring finger is going to flop down right next door. Your index finger, I call him, the lazy finger. She's just going to wrap around the bow and she's going to touch in between these first two knuckles here. You want to keep about a finger's width in between your index and your middle finger. And then your pinky is going to go on top of the bow, nice and curved. That is your ideal bow grip. For beginners, I usually suggest practicing at least 10 bow grips a day. So like do a bow grip, shake it out, do another one, shake it out. I know it sounds like a lot, but it really won't take a long time. Like we already said, it's not a supernatural thing to hold the bow. The more practice you can get, the better. So that is how to hold your violin and your bow. I've done a couple other videos on this topic, so I'll leave those linked if you want even further instruction. And if you have any questions about bow grip, about violin hold, definitely leave a comment and let me know. Please make sure you subscribe to my channel before you go. It really, really helps me out a lot. Thank you for watching.